All right, guys, today I am sharing with you my absolute honest thoughts and experience with Mystery of History curriculum. All right, guys, welcome back. It's Homeschool Fellowship Friday, and I am so excited you guys are joining me for this because I had changed history programs last year to this one, and I am so excited to talk to you guys about it and tell you what my true thoughts are, the pros, the cons, and stay tuned for the end of the video where I will tell you whether or not we're going to continue with this program. So before we get started, this is Homeschool Fellowship Friday, where I get to share all things related to homeschool. So that is what we're doing today. I am Laura Wilkie. I am a Christian homeschool mama of 7. I have kiddos from 7th grade, she'll be in 8th grade in the fall, all the way down to 2 years old. And we have been homeschooling from the very beginning. So we have done several different things. We have bounced around a little bit between curriculums with My Father's World. We did a little bit. We've always been Charlotte Mason, but we've done some My Father's World. We've done some Heart of Dakota. We have done some Story of the World, and then we moved to Mystery of History this year. We were in our timeline the year prior. This was the next one, which just happened to be the 4th volume, which is the last volume in Mystery of History. So that is actually where we started, was at the very end of their program. But it is 4 volumes and it runs in a cycle. So every 4 years, then you would repeat them is the way it would work. So yeah, this is the 4th volume, which is Wars of Independence to Modern Times. It goes from 1708 to 2014. And I'm going to talk to you guys first about the pros, what we liked about this program, what we thought about it. So this is by Linda LaCour Hobar. Okay. Like I said, this is the 4th version, or 4th volume in this series. So I do love very much how this it comes from a biblical worldview, which I felt like we were really missing with Story of the World. Story of the World is what is done in My Father's World when you get further up in the years like we were. And I felt like it just was not what I was looking for. Prior to that, we had done a lot of story living books for history, and it was very good. And so I really was concerned that this might be textbooky. I did not want it to be textbooky, and I just don't like that. So this book, I actually don't have it in here, but this book came with a CD that was right here. It's actually in my computer right now, but it came with a CD. Inside that CD is hundreds of pages, and there's all kinds of things. There are activities, there are craft ideas, there's step-by-step how to do things. So these were some of the pros that I really liked, because Story of the World had this same idea with their activity book. And I loved that, you know, like Story of the World, if I wanted to just read this and do none of the activities, it still worked. If I had extra time and wanted to add in activities, I could do that too. And there were printable things, there were map skill things. I liked all of that. There were even book lists, which I really liked, because we've had that since the beginning when we were doing My Father's World. And I just loved having age-appropriate, good books at my fingertips that were historical and fell right in line with what we were learning. And it actually had them by like lesson or by time period, and you could see like, okay, I want them to dive a little bit further into the Cold War, for example. So there you could just select the books from there. Of course, there's more since this was printed, but I think it's a really good comprehensive list. So let's see, it starts out, it goes, there's a table of contents here, and then it has it's divided into 2 semesters. So we do 3 terms in our homeschool. Each term is 12 weeks, so 3 times 12 is what we have. and I liked that. So she has semester 1 and then she had semester 2. Yeah, so 14 weeks. And then the second semester went all the way to week 28. So another 14 weeks. Another thing I loved about this was it did not go for a full school year. Like it didn't go all the way to 32 or 34 or 36 weeks like a typical school year would. I loved that it stopped at week 28 because that meant I did not have to worry if throughout the school year we got busy, we got behind, and I didn't have to worry about it because I knew regardless it was already built in to cover that. So I was okay with it. Now, something I didn't realize that was just my own poor planning was I kind of messed up at the beginning when we started this, but I got right back on track and it was fine. But each lesson or each week has 3 lessons in it. So you want to plan to read each week in order to finish in the 28 weeks that it has in here planned. You want to plan to read 3 lessons a week. So it worked well for us. We did that most weeks and it worked well. I don't know, because this is the only volume I've used, if the other volumes are similar or if we were just trying to squeeze a lot of information into one volume. I don't know. Honestly, I feel like they could divide this into a 5th volume as well, because getting into, I said I was going to do all the pros first, but I'm going to throw this con in there because I did not like that it stopped at 2014. Okay, this is 2024, so we have a full 10 years, which doesn't seem like a lot, but this year alone, so much has happened. And if you just look at Trump and Biden alone, so much has happened. So I feel like taking some of this and what's gone on in the past 10 years and adding it into a 5th volume would be very beneficial. Now, something I did like about this is I loved the way the pages were laid out. It was just beautiful. It had pictures throughout, real historical pictures. The stories were told in a way that you could understand easily, which I also really liked. It was just really well done. Something that I really liked also was that it came from a biblical worldview. So we didn't just study these events in history, but we studied how they played into how Christ was shown through these stories. And it was so much more rich and fulfilling that it was just so good. For example, we learned about different people in history, their faith or a lack of faith. We learned about like Einstein, and we learned about Hitler and how they became the people they were. We also learned a whole lot about Stalin. We learned, just all kinds of things. One thing in particular that I really liked about Einstein was, which you never even hear about this. In the last couple of paragraphs about Einstein, we didn't just learn that he made E = mc squared, right? We learned about his life. We learned about his marriages. We learned what kind of student he was growing up. And we learned that a week before his death, he agreed to have his name added to a manifesto urging the world to discontinue the development of nuclear weapons, which was something he had helped make possible with his understanding of atoms. And I thought these kinds of things, these kinds of facts were so pertinent because these were the things that Story of the World was missing. How this event, instead of just this event happened, but how this event continued to shape history and how that event shaped Christianity. I really liked that. It talked about Picasso. We talked about lots of composers. We talked about Mozart. We talked about, is it Handel, I think? Voltaire. We talked about, just so much. And I really appreciated that it took these into the full the full realm of history, and it included all of that, which I really, really liked. So we liked that it was comprehensive. We liked the biblical worldview. We liked that it had book recommendations, it had crafts, there was activities, and I liked that it was told in a story mode, not in like a textbook form, which was also very good and fitting for our style of homeschooling. And if you're a Charlotte Mason homeschooler, you probably relate. But I did have a couple things I didn't like. Like I said, I did not like that it stops at 2014 because there's so much still to learn. There's so much that's going on and seeing it from another point of view. So maybe in the future they're going to add that. I don't know. But I also felt like it lacked a thorough, complete understanding of American history. I think it squeezed American history into like 2 or 3 weeks, which I felt like was a little bit quick. Now, we had studied American history many times, so we have a thorough understanding of it, and it was actually covered a little bit in our previous year with Story of the World, so it was okay for us right now. But when we get back around, if we decided to continue this program, there would need to be something, I think, between Volume 3 and Volume 4, because this picks up right close to the beginning of American history, and I feel like I would need to do Volume 1, 2, 3, and then squeeze in something for a year for American history, and then Volume 4. So I felt like it had like a gap that it was missing, and that really needed to be filled. Yeah, and she even addresses that. She talked about it, I can't remember where, but she talked about it in one of the lessons where she said, there's so much more to this, so do your own research and look into it and things. But I just wished that it had been included in like another volume. So maybe if they took like the beginning half of this and added some American history to the beginning, and then the last half and added some stuff after 2014 and made a whole nother volume, I think that would be more complete. And so that was lacking. I wished it hadn't been. Now, as for the activities and map skills, honestly, I had full intention of doing all of it, and we started, and the stories in here were so complete and so filling that after narration and after reading the stories, we were just ready to move on to the next lesson. It wasn't that we were not enjoying them, but I felt like we had learned what we were trying to learn, and we didn't need to add more to it. It would have become like busy work. So I appreciated that I had the option, but we actually did not take part in most of the things after like week 2. So it's just how our family worked. So now for the big question. Are we going to continue this next year? The answer is absolutely 100% yes. We are going to move on with this curriculum, which will start us back at the beginning of creation, and I am so beyond excited to go through it. We went through it already with Story of the World. I'm so excited to go through it with this because I feel like this is it's just so much more. It's so much richer, and there's so much more to it. It's kind of reminds me of like Story of the World would be like reading the children's Bible, and this is like reading the whole Bible. Okay, so it's just so much more. Yes, Story of the World was good, but it didn't give us the whole story, and I feel like this just did such a great job on it. So yes, 100%, we are planning to move forward with this program, Mystery of History. I love it so much. I'm excited to get going on next year. I'm already looking into it. I'm just so excited for it. So I wanted to share that with you guys because we have just finished it, and I know you guys were unsure what we thought about it. I want you to know wholeheartedly we love it, and we're going to continue. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time when we talk about what else we're going to be doing for next school year.